So what does $1 million actually buy you on the Philadelphia main line in 2026? Because depending on the exact area, condition of the property, lot size, school district, and walkability, $1 million can get you pretty far. From something fully renovated that's move-in ready, maybe an older home that still needs a little bit of work, maybe a luxury location but less square footage. And honestly, this surprises a lot of people moving to the main line of how far $1 million can actually get you, for the better and the worse. And we're gonna cover it all today, because many buyers hear Philadelphia main line and think $1 million won't be able to buy you anything. But on the main line, you're often paying heavily for locations, school districts, prestige, train access, and walkability, and the limited inventory. But $1 million, you'll be surprised, can actually get you pretty far. So in this video, I'm gonna show you real active listings around the $1 million price point and break down what buyers are actually getting, what areas offer the best value, what homes still feel overpriced, and what kind of competition exists, how much income you also realistically need to afford a home like this in 2026 with rates this high, and what under $1 million generally gets you on the main line today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Peter Stefanatos. I'm a Compass real estate agent on the main line. I'm actually recording in the Wayne office right now, and I've sold many on the main line and surrounding Philly suburbs. I'll have some of my recent sales on screen from Villanova, Bryn Mawr, Gladwin, just surrounding areas. Now, one thing I consistently hear from buyers relocating here is I didn't realize how expensive the main line really was. Because a lot of people think, as you know, if you back up a little bit, the average home price in the United States of America is $400,000 to $500,000. But on the main line, the average home price is a much closer to that $1 million, $900,000. But we're gonna jump right into the first property example here, and that is a property that we actually do have here in Berwyn. So I'm gonna pull that up here on screen for you guys, and we can take a look. Okay, so $950,000. Wow, this one actually just went for sale. It just sold literally like 10 minutes ago. That's pretty crazy timing. So you can see it pending right there. It was on the market for 4 days. Let's see if we can get some pictures here. Okay, we can see the taxes here are around $10,000 a year. It was built in 1963. You're getting a 5-bed, 3-bath, 2,900 square feet, and you can see the neighborhood kind of here. Nice little cul-de-sac, nice little neighborhood that is definitely very common in the main line. Is pretty much areas like this that you will expect to see. So definitely a nice house in Berwyn. The 3 school districts that most people are looking for on the main line is Radnor, Lower Merion, and Tredyffrin. Those core 3 where properties typically sell for the most and the demand is the absolute highest. But this is definitely a solid property for around that $1 million price point. Not bad at all. And this is what you're going to expect. A similar house like this is actually pretty similar to the house that I live in Villanova. Around this $1 million price point, you're going to get a very similar style, bedrooms to bathrooms, square foot ratio. So this is a good starting point. Like we said, that Berwyn home had 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, nearly 3,000 square feet, and sits on half an acre, and has been on the market for just a couple of days. Now, what's interesting here is the value proposition. You're getting decent land, great square footage, and access to fantastic schools. But at the same time, buyers at this price point are expecting a lot now. They want updated kitchens, modern bathrooms, good layouts, finished basements, outdoor spaces, and homes that feel move-in ready. And a lot of times, those types of homes that are absolutely move-in ready are going to be over that $1 million price point. Don't get me wrong, the home we just saw in Berwyn is definitely livable, but for example, if that was recently updated to like 2025 standards, it would be much more money, probably in the 1.3, 1.4. So the kitchen is definitely nice, but it was likely done around 2016, 2015. As we can see, there's granite countertops and baseboard. We have baseboard heating here as well, and mini splits for AC, which is less desirable. But this is good land and definitely a good value for around the main line for under $1 million. Now we're going to get into the next one here. Okay, property 2. Now let's look at this Bala Cynwyd property listed for around $990,000. We're gonna notice the difference here. This property has 6 bedrooms and is over 3,600 square feet, much bigger, and a significantly larger interior footprint than many mainline homes around this price point. So from a value perspective, just looking in, pretty good value. One thing buyers always need to analyze beyond the square footage is location, taxes, lot size, school district, and overall lifestyle. These are the specifics you're gonna be like looking at, right? And that's what we're highlighting today, because sometimes buyers focus entirely on size when the real value driver in the long term is actually the location, right? As that needs to work for you. A lot of people just want to get the biggest home they can, but a lot of times, you know, you want to make sure it's perfectly for your needs. But covering this Bala Cynwyd property, it looks like an older stone build from 1930s, 1937. So full stone, we have an asphalt roof, asphalt shingle roof. Lower Merion Township, so one of the most desirable school districts in the main line. You have to love the full stone builds. They don't build homes like that anymore, and typically a full stone build home will always sell for more of a premium than for example, a stucco home, just because it is so durable and there's no problems with stone. Insulate's great as well. So this property, the interior is definitely a bit dated. You're like the farmhouse style sink, but the kitchen is dated to like a lot of mainline standards. It is definitely move-in ready though, you know, definitely livable. And honestly, really nice house. I could definitely see it going for around 950,000. Would definitely make sense. We can actually see exactly where this is located here. Kind of see the satellite kind of looks like around here, because Bala Cynwyd's very walkable. So a lot of people love how they can actually walk around on sidewalks, as most of the town is very walkable, which is just fantastic. We can see the sidewalks right there. And I just kind of wanted to pull up a little picture here. Satellite, yeah, here we go. Yeah, this whole area is walkable too. That's one of the pluses about Bala Cynwyd. That's really awesome. Yeah, very cool. Very nice spot there. Taxes are going to be $10,000 again, just like the last one. Square footage is a lot here, 6 beds. Definitely a big family could live here, with one of the best school districts being the Lower Merion School District. So fantastic home for under $1 million here. Let's get into the next one. Now this Narberth property is interesting because this is where you start seeing buyers paying heavily for lifestyle and walkability. This home is just under 2,000 square feet and is still pushing near $1 million, and will likely sell around $1 million. And honestly, for people unfamiliar with the main line, that will sound insane. Under 2,000 square foot, pushing $1 million. But buyers here are often paying for the walkability, the downtown access, the restaurants, train stations that can easily take you to Center City, and just the community feel and overall walkability. This is something that's hard to quantify purely by square footage, and is a bit of a lifestyle price tag that people are willing to pay down here. All right, so now we're looking at this Narberth property that is active on the market. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath, 2 full baths, under 2,000 square foot. So that square footage price tag number is definitely pushing it at 500, which you will see homes on the main line sell for $500 a square foot if they are recently renovated, and new construction can sometimes push into the deep 500s. So we're just gonna go through a couple of the pictures here, see what we're working with. Nice, cute little house. We have a front porch there, nice little backyard. We are from 1915 this was built. Taxes are $9,000. This is Lower Merion School District as well, which is bringing the price tag up a little bit more than your average real estate outside of the main line, right? So although it's from 1915, this home does have central air and baseboard heating, which is great. Taxes $9,000, and we're just going through some of the photos here to see kind of what you get for your money here. Just under $1 million in Narberth. Again, the price is getting pushed up a little bit just because it's the Lower Merion School Districts. It does look like they recently did some of the bathrooms in here. That's not too bad. Same with the kitchen. That was likely from like 2017, 2016. It looks like it could have been done. Okay, and we get into the 4 bedrooms that the property does have. 4 bedrooms for under 2,000 square feet. That's pretty good. And we have a little nursery there. Another bedroom. Bedrooms do look a little tight, but what you're really paying for is the school districts and the lifestyle. So could definitely see this property going. It's only been on the market for 30 days. Again, all these properties we're showing you guys, by the way, if any of you would like to see them, just reach out to us. I'll have my info on the screen of my team that we could get you out to any of these properties anytime you'd like to see them. Okay, we can move on to the next one. Okay, property example number 4. This beautiful ranch house in Wynnewood, PA. Okay, so this home was built in 1942, so we're keeping this stone exterior. This is another great example of how pricing can just vary dramatically based on updates and presentation. This one is listed at around $950,000 and already had a major price reduction of $50,000 not too long ago, just a couple days ago. And this is something really important buyers and sellers should understand. Even in strong mainline markets, pricing incorrectly will hurt you as a seller, because once a property sits too long publicly, buyers start wondering, you know, is there something wrong with it? Is it overpriced? Why hasn't it sold? That's a bit of a concern, especially in high demand neighborhoods and school districts, just like this one is, as this is Lower Merion Township as well. And that's why strategy matters so much when you are launching a listing. Anyway, let's get into this beautiful little ranch house in Wynnewood really quickly. So we have a 4-bed, 4 full baths also. That's pretty rare. We have 2,300 square feet, and we're looking on the inside now. Okay, looks to be recently done. You can see that they have original hardwood flooring in here as well. You can tell that actually from how thin the planks are, as builders do not make thin planks anymore. They're typically only the wide ones that kind of look like vinyl. So whenever you see those thin planks, you know it's original wood from when the house was actually built. They just probably restained it, resurfaced it. 8,700 are the taxes here, which is actually great for the square footage, the bedroom count, and the school district. So definitely an appeal there. Does look like we have some quartz countertops. The kitchen does look to be a little more updated than you would expect under $1 million. Bathrooms look fine. Bedrooms a little tight, one of them there. Is this the basement? Okay, so it does have a finished basement, which seems to be a walkout, which is nice. Okay. Wow, that is a very large primary closet. This is pretty unique, actually. Definitely some nice first floor living you could be taking advantage of here. We do have a pretty close proximity, though, to Route 30 here, which could be a little noisy. I mean, you're a little off of it, but that is probably one of the hesitations for this property, as people do not want to hear road noise. But you're also kind of getting that in the pricing, as the property would likely be a lot more if that wasn't the case. It looks like it's also pretty walkable to some nearby shops. I mean, you live right next to Giant Crumble Cookie, which you got to watch out for, and First Watches it. That is really nice. Definitely another great location, as again, the school districts there are absolutely killer, Lower Merion, and that is why a lot of people are willing to pay the price. Let's move on to our next example of under $1 million and what it'll get you on the main line. All right, property example number 5 here. Okay, we have a Wayne property that is Tredyffrin Township, the Tredyffrin School District here. And we have exactly coming in at $1 million, a 3-bed, 3-bath, 2,600 square feet. You're getting over half an acre, good lot size, like we said, 3 beds, 3 baths. And it's a classic mainline setting here. Taxes, $9,500 a year, and the build year was 1957. But always remember, guys, around this price point, inventory moves very, very quickly. This property's only been on the market for 3 days, and just glancing at the condition, it will likely go very quickly. Yeah, it looks like brand new quartz waterfall countertops. The kitchen was recently redone. That's a unique, honestly quite beautiful design. I'm kind of a fan. Nice yard, nice little flagstone patio back there. Beautiful white, looks like white oak plank flooring. You could tell the flooring's actually new. No, they just sanded and did an oak finish on top of the original hardwood, which is actually quite stunning. Yeah, this is a beautiful house for $1 million. It's 3-bed, 3-bath. This will definitely go being TE School District. I would not be surprised if this property has had some significant traffic. Bathrooms seem to be in good shape as well. Okay, definitely a nice house with a nice lot, nice yard, little flagstone patio, and it's been finished very well. You have a 2-car garage there as well with the TE School Districts. You honestly can't really beat that. Let's look really quickly just at the location on the map. Yeah, so it looks like you're nestled pretty far back. You're not going to hear much road noise at all. Nice setting that is pretty common within the suburbs and the main line. You know, just a lot of homes that are kind of nestled in these large amount of trees. Makes it feel really private. This is definitely a stunning house for at the $1 million price point. Okay, so that's going to just wrap up the actual live examples. Based on the listings we just looked at, what does under $1 million generally get you on the Philadelphia main line in 2026? There's a pretty clear pattern here. For roughly $900 to $1 million, buyers are typically getting somewhere from 3 to 5 bedrooms, 2 to 4 bathrooms, and roughly 2,000 to 3,500 square feet. Okay, those are the ranges you're going to expect. And acreage is usually going to be 0.2 acres to 1.6 acres maximum around this price point, as in the main line, a full acre can tend to go for $900 to even $1 million. So that's also part of the reason why the acreage isn't going to be too steep, because land is so expensive on the main line here. And it's going to vary by location, as Villanova and Gladwood land is much more expensive than Radnor or Wayne Bala Cynwyd land. Now, obviously, there are huge differences depending on exact town, school districts, renovation level, walkability, and lot size. But generally speaking, if you're shopping under $1 million on the main line today, you're usually deciding between more houses, better location, more land, or more updates, because it's very difficult to maximize all of these at once under the $1 million price point. You're gonna be sacrificing on something. For example, some buyers may get larger square footage, more bedrooms, and a bigger lots, but sacrifice walkability, updated interiors, or proximity to train stations in downtown areas, as they will figure, we'll update later in time, as long as it's livable now. And while other buyers may choose smaller houses, tighter lots, less square footage in exchange for prestige locations, highly walkable neighborhoods, and strong long-term demand because of the school districts, it's all up to you. Just make sure you are focusing on the things you cannot live without. Obviously, the bedroom counts, for each kid. If a walkable lifestyle is essential to you, then you should be probably looking at areas like Bala Cynwyd and Ardmore is number one. Then Paoli, as it's also very walkable, but much cheaper as you're kind of drifting out of the main line. If you want more acreage, then maybe you will be looking more towards Villanova or Radnor, Gladwin, as those areas are not as walkable. Parts of Radnor are very walkable, but Villanova is not walkable, Gladwin is not walkable. Bryn Mawr does have a nice downtown area, but generally not very walkable either. But just keep in mind that two homes that are both priced at $1 million can feel completely different, just depending on where they're located and what type of buyer profile that they do have. So even at $1 million, you have a wide range of options, okay? Now, why do mainline prices stay high? And then we're gonna get into affordability and what you need to actually purchase $1 million mainline property. So why are the mainline prices still so strong in 2026? A few major reasons are, number one, low inventory, nationally ranked school districts, strong household incomes, proximity to center city Philly, and simply high demand for these towns that have some of the best schools in the nation. The main line historically has significantly lower housing inventory compared to the surrounding suburbs. Typically it's cut in half, which is why prices stay so high and typically appreciate at a higher level than surrounding suburb areas. And when inventory stays low while buyer demand remains strong, prices will stay elevated. Now, let's talk about how much income do you need for $1 million house? Now, one of the biggest questions buyers always ask is, what income do you realistically need to afford $1 million home? And specifically on the main line, as taxes are typically a little bit more. And honestly, the answer is usually more than people do think, especially because rates are so high now. Let's use a pretty standard scenario, $1 million purchase price with a 20% down payment, meaning about $200,000 down and roughly an $800,000 loan. At current interest rates in 2026 at 6.5%, your monthly payment with taxes, insurance, with principal and interest could easily land somewhere around the $6,500 to $7,500 per month, depending on the tax and the exact rate. But just know you'll kind of be in that area of $6,000 to $7,000 likely. And honestly, to comfortably afford that type of monthly payment while still qualifying with most lenders, buyers typically need around a $200,000 household income at bare minimum to afford an $800,000 loan, putting that 20% down. You can always do an FHA, right, where you put 3% down, or a VA loan, but you will still need to show that strong earning power of around 200,000, at least 200,000, especially if you're doing less. Now, a lot of people on the main line have bigger down payments, as they might have help from their family. They've just saved up a lot. I've helped many clients who have just saved up a lot, and now that they're ready to move in and start a family, they help bring larger down payments to the table that are able to afford them these larger properties, or just bring down the monthly payment from being so high. Now, as we saw, I would keep a good number in your head for around $7,500 a month for this loan with 20% down, including the taxes, just because we saw the taxes were around $10,000 at the $1 million price point. So that's like $800 a month. And then with your insurance, which will probably be around $200 a month. And then, your principal and interest, which is going to be the bulk of that, which is probably going to be around $6,000 a month at the 6.5 rates that are still unfortunately climbing. And even if you are doing with a household income of $200,000, I'm obviously not a financial advisor, but there's other factors you have to budget into your financial situation as well, student loans, car payments, childcare, credit card debt, maintenance of the property, and the reality that the mainline homes can have very high taxes, and taxes increase at a higher rate than some other areas. So realistically, many buyers purchasing around the $1 million range have to be earning above or around $200,000 of bare minimum of $200,000 household income at these rates at $1 million price point. Okay, last thing I wanted to talk about here is the private market, where a lot of mainline homes are actually listed first before they're listed publicly. Just like the first property I actually showed you guys was first on the private market. And something many buyers don't realize is that some of the homes on the mainline never fully even hit the public market. We have access to something here at Compass called the private market. They're also called private exclusives. Essentially, sellers are given the option to list their property privately. So you can't find it on sites like Zillow, Redfin, no sign in the yard, at whatever price they'd like. Sometimes their aspirational price, and then if they don't sell at their aspirational price, then we'll launch publicly, which is the strategy that I typically deploy with my sellers. You know, we test the market at their aspirational price, see if anybody is interested, which we have sold properties on the private market at their aspirational price. I recently sold one a little outside of the main line in media for over their aspirational, my seller's aspirational ask. So for buyers in competitive price ranges like this, it can definitely make a huge difference to have access to the private market. If you would like access, I believe there's 3 or 4 properties privately listed right now in the $1 million range on the main line. So if you would like to see those, as they're not on Zillow or anything, just reach out. I'll have my info on the screen and we'll send those over to you. And if you'd like to schedule any showings or anything. It's been Peter Stefanato. So I hope this video on what $1 million actually gets you on the Philadelphia main line in 2026 was very helpful. Again, it honestly depends entirely on location, updates, walkability, school district, lot size, and inventory. But one thing is very, very clear here on the main line, and that is that mainline real estate remains one of the strongest and most competitive suburban markets around PA. So just know that if you are shopping a home here, you do have to be patient, but we are here to help you with that process. And if you're thinking about buying somewhere on the main line and want help understanding where your money stretches furthest, what town fits your lifestyle and what you're really looking for, and how the private market can actually help with your search, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help with my team. Again, we'll have info on the screen, and down below you can also click a link so that we can get connected and I can learn a little bit more about you. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and follow for more Philadelphia mainline real estate videos, market updates, buyer strategies, seller tips, and local insights. Take it easy, everybody.